And hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, the Absolutely Premier League show. It's a new season. The summer has been hot. The summer has been lovely, but we've been missing Premier League football. Fortunately, we don't have to wait too much longer. Because tonight is our season preview and prediction show. Tin hats, everybody. It's just for fun. Don't come at us. Don't shoot us. We just are looking to bring you some entertainment as we talk Premier League football for the new season to come. So I've got an amalgamation of what a team here, a five-a-side team of absolute dreams we have. And it's double podding again, triple podding for Shah. Yeah. Shah's here again. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I've just started my diet again this week, so I'm a little bit hungry, but all is well in the world because I don't know if anybody knows of them, but Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas reunited, and apparently there's a Camp Rock 3 in the making. Yeah. So I'm happy, and I'm obviously happy to see all your lovely faces, but how are you, Sam?
They got hot off the press. There you go. Some massive news. This is it. I'm doing well. I'm well hydrated for this evening, ready to go. They've got the big bottle of water because it's serious business for season predictions. And oh my word, he's here on a Tuesday. Can he believe it? The main man is here in the Premier League. He's ready to go. And welcome to the Absolutely Premier League show.
Hello. Not else to say. There we go.
This is it. Hello.
Just happy to be.
He's happy to participate. I'm sure predictions we'll see. It'll be more than participating. And of course, if you don't know, it has been on our absolutely lower league show since the start, since the beginning.
Yes,
he's traversed up to the Premier League this season, so he's joining us.
I've gone up the ranks, haven't I? Yeah.
Up the ranks, He has, and a TV star as well. I can't turn on my TV with football shows without Ant talking about Sunderland these days as well.
Yeah. I am after an agent if anyone knows of anybody, because honestly, the fans are knocking on the door, queuing up round the corner. It's not good. I need an agent.
The celebrity life, eh? The celebrity life. Talking of celebrities, Heather's here as well, of course. Heather, how are you doing? You came back after your debut last week.
I did, yeah. I'm good. I'm just absolutely manic with work as I run and clean some Airbnbs right on the beach. Everybody wants to be there in this weather, so...
I imagine a very busy time at the moment. Definitely, It's very, very much the season for that, and it's always the season for Grimmy. Grimmy's back for another season. Optimism hitting the roof. How are we doing, Grimmy?
Yeah, that roof is certainly looking interesting at times. We might see how that roof looks after Sunday's game, Sam. But yeah, apart from that, all good. Looking forward to the new season with blind hope as always, as we all do. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Good to hear it. I was about to say 'tis the season to be jolly, and I realised that is completely the wrong season. So we'll leave all of that stuff at the door. But welcome to as well our people on the chat. Joshua's here. Evening to Joshua. Evening to Graham. He's here. Evening to Richard. We've got as well who we've got David. Evening to David. And Sean says it's the famous 5. It's half time at 6 Hills. It's 0-0 against the Saints, of course. The EFL Cup kicking off tonight. All very exciting. And the wonderful Dreety is with us in the chat as well. Hello to you, Dreety. Hope you are well. So we're here. Shall we start with some predictions? So before we start, let's just put the disclaimer out. Don't come at us. It's a bit of fun. If we say your team isn't finishing top of the league, we don't hate you. We don't hate your families. We're all friends here. It's just a prediction. Some
apart from if you're a Newcastle fan, then I do hate you and your family.
There we go. The first rivalry of the season, straight in there. We do have some interesting predictions. We do have some, some fairly expected predictions. We have some out there predictions. And we have some crazy, risky predictions. Not looking at anybody in particular that's wearing blue in the corner, but we'll see what they've got to bring very shortly. So we'll start. What we're going to do is we're going to go around the team because everybody on the pod, on the Premier League show, not the whole pod, otherwise we'd be here all night with all 25 people. But we have everybody. We're going to go through the bottom 6, then we're going to go through the middle of the league, and then we're going to look at people's top 6 with a couple of cheeky questions at the end as well. So we're going to start with This man, that handsome man that's currently on screen there, with his Premier League bottom six, and the first thing you'll notice, and we'll let him talk about it, Sunderland in 15th and what a season you've had.
I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week, yeah. I'll take 17th, but I just for some reason, I think the signings that we've made, obviously we made another one today, getting Alderati from Getafe in the centre half. I mean, he's like big, strong, crazy man, made the La Liga team of the year. I just think like the calibre of the signings we've brought in, like you're looking at Simon Adringer from Brighton, who's a very good footballer. Diarra and Siddiqui, who we brought in, both look very good footballers as well. The left back who we've got, and then obviously to top it all off with getting Granit Xhaka from Leverkusen. I just think we're going for. We're obviously, it obviously is a huge gamble to do what we're doing, spending 100-odd million quid on a new side, but it's what we've needed. You know what I mean? If we come up with the side that. And it's all well and good doing what they did last year, but you see what happened with Ipswich last year, that they came up, kept majority of the same team, bought the best players from the Championship and went down with 4 wins. We're bringing top quality footballers into this club. And I just think that we are more capable now and more ready than Burnley and Leeds, hence why I've put them 2 in the bottom 3. I'm so sorry, Dan, by the way. But I just can't see Burnley doing much. And Wolves, I think Wolves losing, Cunha is huge for them. So I just fancy, for some reason, I just think we'll be all right. It might be blind optimism, and then in about 6 weeks' time, I'm banging my head, not coming on this show anymore, and throwing my toys out the pram. But we'll see what happens, man. I'm just excited. I've said this a few times now. We went through 8 years of absolute turmoil. We're in League One. Footballers who were absolutely awful doing the Alan Shearer celebration against us. And now we're back where I feel we belong, where I think the majority of football fans think that we belong, and see what happens, man. I will the moon. Cannot wait for Saturday. Saturday, 3 o'clock, just get us there now.
It's going to be absolutely rocking, absolutely buzzing. And as you said, they've spent a lot of money, but you've done it in a sustainable way. You have made some sales as well, so the net figure's a lot better. And I know now dealing with FFPs a little bit kind of different, but it's not like they've gone completely crazy. There may still be room for 1 or 2 more as well. So it's a new squad to kind of bed in, as you say. But does that mean as well you're probably quite unpredictable, because people will see how Sunderland played last year, and there's a whole new load of players to bed in that people aren't going to be used to dealing with?
Yeah, I think the main problem with that is, especially with being a newly promoted side, you've got to start well, haven't you? We've seen what happened last year with the 3 that went down. Don't think any of them won until was it October, November time, when they'd all gone on them runs where they just couldn't win. We have got us, Leeds and Burnley have got to start well, and we've got with the best of respect to West Ham, Brentford and Burnley, who are our first 3 games, we've got, it could have been worse. We could have had Liverpool, Man United or whatever, first off. And, it could have been a harder start. We've got, on paper, not the hardest of starts, like I said, but most of respect to everyone else. But I would say, 2 of them games were at home. Burnley away, last year we should have won. We got 2 penalties and they saved them. James Trafford saved them. He can't do that this year. Couldn't play for them. So, but we'll see what happens. But I think, like I say, we've got to start well, and the fact it probably will take 3 or 4 weeks for them to bed in and to play the best football. So, yeah, I think it's kind of that double-edged sword where we want to start well. It might have been easy enough keeping a settled side there, but for me, I think that side last year with, again, top marks and for getting us up there, if we'd started this season with that side, we'd have been cannon fodder, to be honest. And that's just the way it is. That's just the gulf between the Championship and the Premier League, I'm afraid.
This is the harsh realities. And Graham says Sunderland and Leeds' December fixtures are brutally so important, and so important to start well. Yes, absolutely, Graham. And you start particularly with that fixture list ahead. Sunderland will want to take some early points. We won't go too much into the other teams because everyone else is going to have a few of the same. So we'll share around that love. But there we go. If it's 15th, then we get another season of Ant. So what a wonderful end to the season.
Yeah, with them lovely teeth.
This is it. Everyone's teeth are impeccable on these graphics. Anyway.
Mind you, you got me hairline absolutely spot on, to be fair.
It's a cracker. It's a cracker. And next up,
Oh no.
Char's predictions are here.
Yes.
You've got Sunderland surviving as well. You've got Brentford, Leeds, and Burnley. Should we talk about Brentford, Char? Because a lot of change, and he's obviously decent finish last season, but in the relegation zone for you.
I think that's one thing that worries me the most about Brentford. I feel like there is a lot of change happening for them this season. Obviously, Keith Andrews is in as manager. Thomas Frank has been outstanding, very long-serving manager for them, and I really, really like Thomas Frank and what he did for Brentford. So he's really deserving in the move to Spurs. I'm really interested in how we'll do there this season. I think obviously the main one you've got to say is Mbeumo going to Manchester United, so they're losing goals there. I know Wieser has been linked to a move to either Al Nassr or Newcastle, so potentially losing more goals. Norgard as well. He obviously left, didn't he? Has he gone to Arsenal?
Yeah, he has. Yeah. That's a great sign in that. Great sign.
Very good. And a bargain as well for Arsenal. Bargain at that. But I just feel like with Brentford, they might prove me wrong, but I just feel like there is a lot of change happening. I know they've got some good signings. They've obviously got Jordan Henderson there for experience. Ramel Donovan as well, who they've got from Birmingham. Very good signing. But I just do not think they will be able to... They'll be able to replace Mbeumo and his goals. And obviously, like I mentioned with Wieser, I just really, really feel for him. I do. But they have got Kellier as well. They've got a good keeper, obviously, from Liverpool. So that's a very good signing. But
it's kind of decimated away, isn't it? Yeah, Frank going and Mbeumo going, Visser looking like he's on the way out as well. And all God, he said it's just sort of issue after issue, and you can't lose that much change. I think that's why sort of the general consensus everyone sees Brentford a lot worse off massively than they were last year. Just for people we have got in this sort of chat, we will talk about other clubs. I know there's a couple of chats on Everton, etc. We will come to all of those. Don't worry when they come to predictions. We're not ignoring you in the chat. We just want to stick with what we've got on the screen at the minute. So yeah, Brentford, and then also Leeds and Burnley, two promoted sides. You think going to struggle as well?
Yeah, I think similar to what Ant was saying, Burnley, like we mentioned last week when it was myself, obviously you, Sam and Heather, Scott Parker, he's never really quite out as it in the Premier League. So that's one main issue. And I just don't think they'll be strong enough this season to compete with the other teams. Leeds, same again, really, with... I forgot his name. Fark. Forgot his name then. With Fark, I feel like he's not really quite out. It was at Norwich, wasn't he? In the Premier League. And I don't know. I just feel like a lot of the other teams obviously have that experience, that little bit more of the Premier League. And yeah, I just think they'll struggle, Leeds and Burnley. I like to be proven wrong, but I do think they will struggle. And Sunderland, I feel like they've recruited that little bit better than those teams. As Ant said and yourself, they've spent money very, very wisely. I think Xhaka is a top quality signing. The Premier League experience. I know I mention it every time I come onto the podcast, but I feel like that is vital, having them people in there, not just for on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. And yeah, I feel like Leeds and Burnley will struggle more than Sunderland out of the newly promoted teams.
Could be tough, isn't it? It's a chasm, isn't it? And while Burnley say defend well, and that I can't, you worry where's the goals coming from at the moment. I think is the biggest challenge for them. So there we are, Shaw. That's your bottom six. You're off the hook.
Not too wild. I don't think.
Compared to what's coming, it's not too wild. And talking of this maverick, Dan, with his cheeky little photo there as well. Dan has gone for, of course, he's predicted that the Clarets will survive. He can't not, to be fair. He can't not that he sees the Clarets surviving. And the same teams in a different order. West Ham, Brentford, Burnley, Wolves, Sunderland, Leeds. Greeny, do you want to come in on West Ham? Was a few people sort of down on West Ham, not doing a lot in the transfer window. Do you see them getting dragged into trouble?
As you'll see with my predictions, my answer is yes to that question. Yeah, I just don't. I'll obviously go into it more when my predictions come up, but I just don't feel very inspired at all by what West Ham have done. Callum Wilson being your main replacement for a striker just kind of doesn't fill me with hope. If he was injury-free or relatively injury-free, maybe, but
Yeah.
Signings like that make you question what's going on over there.
Yeah, it's not really clicked with Potter at the end of the season either. As you said, Wilson, it's just not going to be fit. I think is the worry, isn't it? If he can stay fit, then there's some trouble there for them. Kudus has obviously gone as well. It's not ideal. David says, there you go. Teams need to be winning one game every 3 with a chance of staying up. So he's bang on the maths early. See, that's what you got waiting for. 1 in 3 apparently is enough. And Ryan says, Burnley surviving. He does support Burnley.
Dan supports he has to, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He has to back his boys. Has to back his boys. 100%.
I mean, I am withdrawing my apology that I did put 3 minutes ago for Dan to apologise and putting Burnley bottom right, but never mind.
Josh says, though, Malik Diouf looks a good sign. I think he's a sort of fullback sort of defender they pulled up, so he'll be interesting one to watch. I've seen a few of him in people's dream teams, so keep an eye on him. And now the man, the maverick, the risk taker.
Yes.
Last couple of seasons, all the promoted sides have been relegated to the Championship. In Grimmy's world, they're all staying up this year. It's positivity all the way. Grimmy, talk us through your bottom 6.
So, where do I even begin? So, basically, I think the promoted teams could be interchangeable in terms of those positions. But ultimately, I think the 3 of them will be fine. I think Sunderland so far have obviously done the best business. I think Xhaka coming in is probably one of the best bits of business of the entire summer, getting that grit and experience in the midfield. And obviously him playing for Arsenal as well as he did will be, and he's gone obviously to Leverkusen and had a great couple of years there. I think the reason I've gone for Burnley staying up is because I think in comparison to when they came up the last time, with Company, is that defensively, I think they're going to be a lot more sound. I know they've lost Trafford, but they still have an experienced Premier League goalkeeper in Dubravka coming in. And I've always been a big fan of his, even when he was unfortunately goalkeeping for Newcastle and then came to United for a temporary spell. And I just think Leeds will bring a couple more in before the end of the transfer window and probably strengthen when they need to. In terms of why I've gone for West Ham, Brentford and Wolves to get relegated, in all honesty, like I mentioned before about West Ham, I just don't feel very inspired by. They only have really 1 or 2 players that I think can really win them games. I don't think they've got a lot going forward. Brentford is kind of the same when they've lost Mbeumo. Wissa might leave by the end of the summer. And I just don't think there's a lot there. And they have gone for a big gamble in Keith Andrews being their manager. Yeah. I know they obviously have a lot of faith in him and have seen a lot more than what we will have in the background. And that's fair enough. But I don't think you see very often someone from like coming in from obscurity, being a set piece taker coach to then being a manager and it going that well. I don't think there's many examples of that in the Premier League, and never mind anywhere else. So I think they will struggle. And Wolves, it's kind of the same as West Ham. There isn't really a lot that inspires me about them. So yeah, I think there's arguments for the 3 promoted teams, and I don't think we've had 3 Premier League teams look as poor or potentially as poor by the time we get to the end of the summer transfer window. And that's why I've gone big on the 3 promoted teams staying up. So we'll see.
He's gone big, Grimmy. It's all about those headlines. It's tough for Andrews, isn't it? I mean, say for a new, I'm hearing a lot of the same stuff. A lot of people that have worked with him will say to him, so he's very good with the players. He seems to be able to get his message across very well. But for a new coach, they need some help, don't they? They need some help with the side. And suddenly all your best players and the spine of what your team was last year to disappear. It's just asking a lot, I think.
Yeah.
The chat, though, Wolves seem to be, I mean, first of all, they're loving your optimism. David's asking about Wolves. Surprise with Wolves, Grimmy. He thinks that Wolves will score goals. So what have you got that makes Wolves go bottom? Is it just the Cunha factor? Is there more to it?
I mean, to be honest, it's like I said about the promoted teams. I think you could put any given day, my mind changed on West Ham bottom, Brentford bottom, or Wolves bottom, just because of where they're at. And yeah, I think Kuna will be a big miss for them. And I haven't been inspired by anyone coming in that's going to sort of replace that. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Wolves will probably end up finishing 10th now. So yeah.
To be fair as well, Grimmy, last season Wolves did score goals and they still struggled, didn't they, despite scoring goals?
Yeah, well, they had a. I know they had a really horrible start in terms of fixtures. The first I think it was 8 or 9 were all top half teams from the previous season. So yeah, they can't obviously have that. I don't think they will have that bad start again. I don't think anyone will personally. But yeah, it was kind of throw a name at the dartboard between those 3 names, and Wolves got put bottom. So yeah, we'll see.
They lost the alphabetical war again at the bottom of the Premier League. Moving on, we've got Hannah, obviously not with us tonight, but she has predicted for, look away, Heather, Bournemouth in 15th, Brentford in 16th, West Ham in 17th, Sunderland in 18th, Leeds in 19th, and Burnley in 20th. We'll skip through as we've gone through that, and we'll let Heather have a say on Bournemouth maybe higher up the table later on, perhaps from your side, Heather. And talking of Heather, there are your predictions. You've got West Ham, Wolves, and you've got Leeds to survive, Brentford, Sunderland, and Burnley. So what's the thinking behind with Leeds staying up? I think the first that's got Leeds staying up. What's the thought behind Leeds remaining a Premier League team?
I don't know. I think they've just got a lot behind them. They're obviously a big club, and I've experienced it at Elland Road where the fans can just urge the team on. And I think that's more so than any other team that I've been to. I think we were drawing with them. Well, we were winning, and then we drew. We were drawing, and then they ended up winning 4-3. And it was literally the fans that got them there. So that was my thinking behind that. And they are just a big club. So whether they go down or not, again, I don't know, because, as you say, it has been since basically Bournemouth, Fulham and Forest came up every year. The promoted 3 have gone back down again. So
yeah, it's a good point. The home fixtures are always massive for the promoted teams coming up, and Leeds at Elland Road are a threat, no doubt about it. And there'll be teams, that won't want to go there. Perhaps maybe other people will get to go there in November. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see yet. But in terms of the football, it's going to be a tough place to go. And the same, I think, as well as we sort of said for Sunderland. I mean, Dan, you've got a massive stadium there. It's Premier League quality. So again, difficult place to go. So that adds another dimension. Having those home teams to battle against, no doubt about it.
Definitely, yeah. And you remember last year our home form was excellent up until March, where we hadn't lost. So it's 100%. In Burnley, I think, went unbeaten, didn't they, all the last season at Turf Moor. Yeah. So it's just them little things that might end up, having that little bit extra. I think out of the 3 that have come up, Burnley have lost, Trafford, and the lad with the double-barreled surname, I can't remember his name. And I think that spine's just gone from them. And Leeds...
Egan Riley, the centre back.
That's the one,
and it's not just that, it's the fact of Scott Parker. We thought he was the best thing since sliced bread when he got us promoted. That season was absolutely amazing. The first, say, 3 games, he just seemed to completely lose his head, and he started throwing players under the bus and criticising the club and saying, they haven't given me any players. Well, we bought about 9 players in January, so I don't know what he expected, but I don't think... I really don't think that he will survive it again.
No, I don't think he will. No. And I think with Leeds, Shah mentioned it before about Daniel Farker. I don't think he's ever kept a side up. So it's really difficult as I think with our gaffer, even if we go down, I don't think we'd sack him. I think we'd give him the opportunity to come back up again. Whereas I think the pressure's on Burnley and Leeds a little bit more than us, but we'll see what happens.
There were rumours, weren't they, about Farker, that it wasn't even going to
They were on about sacking him.
The manager, yeah. So that's a little bit harsh, isn't it? Yeah. But even when you've got that on your head as well, there's more pressure. Mm-hmm. There's more pressure considering that it didn't actually want to keep you, but you're going into the season in the Premier League. You've not got a great record in the Premier League, so yeah, 100%.
I'm looking forward to going to Sunderland though, so. Hope you do stay up.
No, it's only a bit of banter. Don't worry about it. Just hold it against him if we do stay up.
So. This is it. Daniel Farker, we're talking to managers in the summer that can't be, or options of other things. It went really well for Ten Hag last season, didn't it, Grimmy? So I don't know why they'd have an issue with it at Leeds. Ryan agrees. He says, "Don't see a world that Scott Parker keeps Burnley or any team up in the Premier League." Mr. Luke's popped by to say, "Reet, hello." He's great to see Ant back, and he's been haggled by his dad to watch this to see where Newcastle end up. Don't worry, I'm sure Ant's dealt with them accordingly.
I've actually not been biased either, because otherwise it'd have been me bottom six if I was being biased. But I've been very, very nice, I think, to Newcastle. Kind.
Yeah, something to look forward to. Hello to our Rebecca in the chat as well. Aki are currently 2-0 up against Peterborough. Because are missing again because Accrington don't know that they can't put fixtures on a Tuesday. We did speak to them about this in the summer, but they've now got 3 straight Tuesdays. So Rebecca will be back soon. But she does have, don't worry, there is a Scottish roundup, of course, because of a very special moment.
Do you know what, Sam? I feel like Aki have done it for Rebecca, but Dale have put our games on Wednesdays. So I can replace Rebecca on here. I feel like Aki and Dale have been talking to each other.
They have. They've worked with their fixtures, and just in their sides there say big up to Charles.
Hi, Sid.
It's good. What mixed fixtures, so Charles can come and talk Premier League as well as every other league that we go through. Right, now on to the next fixture. So we've got Lucas. Lucas has gone for Brentford, Wolves, and West Ham to stay up. And he's gone for Sunderland, Leeds, and Burnley, all to be relegated from Lucas. I know, isn't it? I know. It's just dazzling. It's just too dazzling for TV. Too dazzling for TV. Rebecca has gone for. She's got Crystal Palace down in 15th.
Oh,
wow!
Crystal Palace down in 15th, which is one there. Brentford.
They all finished 12th like they always do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have a shoddy start, look terrible, and then they'll be pretty good after Christmas. That's the usual Crystal Palace season. But it will be in the Conference League, not in the Europa League, as it's been confirmed this week, because they lost their appeal. And they're not happy about it. The statement that came out today was pretty much like, wow, if we were a big club, you wouldn't do this. So they were not happy.
Not wrong.
True, though.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
Fair point.
There's been some other situations that haven't really been clarified as to why it's different for Palace, but I'm sure legally there's a reason, but we'll see. Leeds, Burnley, and Sunderland down for Rebecca, and then it's mine as well. I'm going to keep with the tanned picture I was getting ribbed at last week, because by the end of the season, the tan's already gone. And it also means that if my predictions are horrendous, I can just pretend it's someone else, because it won't look anything like me when I'm pasty white. So I've gone for West Ham, Brentford, Wolves, Sunderland, Leeds, and Burnley. I agree. I think Sunderland have got the best shot. I think that they've bought really well. I think Brentford, it's a fall, but I think they've got to fall a long way further than that. And I think they'll still do a bit of business that might be enough. I still think there's some decent players in that squad. I like Vitor Pereira. I think he did a decent role. I think Wolves are going to struggle, but I think, again, they score goals. Strand Larsen's not a bad striker up there. And they've got some players around that front line that I think can do some damage. But I think it'll be tight. I don't think we'll have the situation we had last year where it was all pretty much said and done and whatever. So it'll be pretty close. And West Ham, again, I think they're not looking great, but I do think Jared Bowen probably is the one X factor that those other teams don't have down there that will drag them enough points to just see them away from trouble in the end. But it's gonna be intriguing indeed.
Sam, on that photo there, you look like a really bad timeshare salesman.
That's
I'd
because he is.
I'd have you know, and I'd be a very good timeshare. I won't be. I won't be showing that picture too much the rest of the season. So enjoy it tonight. Don't
Speaking
you
of timeshare salesman,
here we are. Speaking of dodgy deals, mid-table, and so you've gone for this is we're going 7th to 14th. You've got Tottenham back up to 7th, Brighton, Newcastle in 9th, Forest, Bournemouth, Palace, Everton, and Fulham. Talk us through your mid-table.
So Fulham, I didn't know where to put Fulham. So hence why Fulham were literally me last because I didn't do it in order. I was I knew who my top 4 was, knew who my bottom 3 was, and then I need to work things out. And Fulham, I was like, where do I put them? Because Fulham are just there for me this season. It's like they've not done anything major in the transfer window yet. But then I'm like, I can't see them having too much of a struggle to stay up because I think they're a good side. But I'm like, I just don't know. So hence why they went 14th. Everton, I did this before the Grealish transfer, but I think that is an absolutely tremendous signing, to be honest. For him, for the club, for everyone involved, I think is an amazing signing. Palace, I just think the Thursday Sunday thing with the Europa League will probably hit them hard. I think they were great. I really like Palace, and I didn't put them there because they finished 12th every season. It's a happy coincidence. Bournemouth, I think just the loss of all the centre, all the defence is going to probably come back to haunt them a little bit. But I really like Bournemouth as a football team and everything like that. So I hope they finish a little bit higher than that. Forest, the same thing with Europe. When I don't think they've got that squad depth yet. The reason why I'm putting Newcastle 9th is basically Alexander Isak. UT came out of that side, and I think that is a bang average side. And I'm not, and people can shout pelters at us and all this at the other because I'm a Sunderland fan, but I don't see in that team anyone who's going to score them goals. You look at maybe Alanga, maybe Gordon and all that stuff, but Isak scored, it was 29 goals in 42 games or something last year. You take them goals out, and I think that's why I'm putting them there. Brighton are going to be Brighton. They're going to be there or thereabouts, aren't they? And Spurs, I think they've had a really good window, Sam, to be honest. Bringing in, Kudos, I think it's a great sign. And the one about getting Eze, aren't there, as well? Solanke being fit, in and around that, I think will be good. So I think they'll probably push for that Conference League slot. And then, as we mentioned before, I think their signing the season's been getting Thomas Frank from Brentford. I think he's a great manager. I think he's going to go a long way in the game, and I think he'll have a good season there. They're going to be the big improvers, I think, this season. So obviously they were 17th last year, weren't they? So yeah, I think they're the big improvers. And obviously, without going to further detail, look, Man United are higher than that. So let's see what happens there. But yeah, hopefully I've explained that well enough.
No, that's spot on. As I say, Tottenham's an interesting one. Thomas Frank coming in, big change there. As you said, Kudos coming in. I worry that the Maddison injury is harsh. An ACL for Maddison. He's going to be missing for most of the season. Just after Son had declared he was off as well. So they sort of lost two big players there. I think there's a bit of a hole in that number 10 area. If they'd had Morgan Gibbs-White, if that deal had gone through, then they'd be sorted. And I think you're right. I think I can see why they're going for Eze because that would make sense to me.
I think Josh has just put in the chat there the João Palhinha signing. that gives them that little bit of stability, isn't it? Where that's the problem with Spurs, because the pile forward with what they were doing with Angeball last year, they had nothing. They had nothing at the back, but he'll just sit, won't he, in front of that defence and just take everything over. So I think that's a really clever signing for them there, and he's a fantastic footballer. So
yeah, he's very good, and I think he's been a massive miss for Fulham since he's gone. As we said last week, Shah, he loves a card though, doesn't he?
He does. He loves a card.
Get you. He makes it easier if you're sort of if you're looking at fantasy teams and you're worried about bookings. Palhinha's probably not the guy for you. But in terms of mopping stuff up as DM, I think he's about as good as it comes. And Yves Bissouma is in the naughty book anyway at the minute. I don't know if you saw that today. Thomas Frank has left him out the squad because he's been late, consecutively late. So there are consequences, says Thomas Frank, for not behaving and not being on time. And Yves Bissouma has.
Do you think that's what Spurs need as well, though? They need that disciplinarian there.
Yeah.
Because obviously there was something going on last year because that side shouldn't have finished where they finished with. They're top class footballers there. and they finished, like fourth off bottom. So I think that's probably needs someone who's just going to like knuckle down with them and say, obviously if you play for us, play well and everything like that, we'll reward you and stuff like that. But if you're going to take the mick, then you're not going to be in my team. And I quite like that, to be fair.
Yeah, you might be right. It might be what they need. They need a bit of the iron fist rather than the arm around the shoulder. A couple of them, and I think everyone's expecting Spurs to have a reaction and to do something. They have, of course, got Champions League football as well, so they've got to manage that. But that would just mean they've got to be playing. They'll be playing better teams. If they play like they did last season, they'll be in a world of trouble. So they need to step their game up. That's for sure. Into the chat, Sean says he thinks Spurs is generous, but it's everyone's opinion. Also giving love and getting a lot of Love Island love from people in the chat as well. Oh, thank you very much. No, there won't be an appearance. Who's going to run the podcast if I bugger off for 6 weeks?
I just think as well with that generous thing with Spurs. It probably is, but you look at how many players they've lost. You've said, like, obviously Son's left, and that'll be a gaping hole, don't get us wrong. But they've got Kudos in. They've still got Kulusevski. Like, Forest have lost Elanga. Newcastle are going to lose Isak. Bournemouth have lost the entire back four. I think Spurs are the only ones.
Adam Smith, excuse me.
Apart from that, Spurs, I think, have had a better window than all of those sides. Hence why I put them that hard.
That's fair. That's a good win, and they're not done yet. They're certainly going to be doing more business. I'm sure that with Spurs. Shah, you're up next. You've got Aston. Oh, usually you're an Aston Villa advocate. Aston Villa down in 7th. Do you want to talk through a few of your predictions there?
Yeah, do you want me to start with Aston Villa?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, the Aston Villa one, I just don't think they're as strong as they have been in previous seasons. I feel, especially, obviously, losing. I know they had Rashford, obviously, on loan last season. Asensio as well. He got vital goals. He's gone. They've still got Ollie Watkins, don't get me wrong, who can get you goals. But there was a lot of transfer talk about Ollie Watkins as well, with some of the bigger clubs in the league. And I just feel like with Aston Villa, I still think they'll have a very good season, but I just feel that they're lacking that little bit up front. So if anything was to happen to obviously Ollie Watkins throughout the season, if he did get injured, I don't think they've really got that bit of quality that they've had in previous seasons, where you've had like Duran, who was chipping in with goals. Before that, you obviously had the likes of Jack Grealish and things. And I don't know, I think they've still got a very, very good manager in Emery, but I just don't really see them doing as well as previous seasons. I know they have been linked with 2 strikers as well, but you think it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin and it's Nicholas Jackson as well, who they've been linked to. So I don't know what it is with Aston Villa this season, but I just don't have the confidence that I've had in them last season, if you get me.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they've, as you said, a few loan players have gone. They've got, I think they have got Gessan's coming as a striker, isn't he? Probably going to be. He's got Nice strikers come in, but sort of new to the Premier League. As we know, Unai Emery's an excellent manager and has done a very good job. And you sort of wonder where Villa are going to go. So that's a fair call. And then the other one you've got as well, Nottingham Forest dropping down to 13th. Show. What's the thought with Forest? Difficult season?
I think it'll be quite a difficult season for them. I think last season, none of us had them to be in the position that they were. I think they had a very excellent season. Despite them tailing off, in the end, I think they had a very, very good season. I really like Nuno as well. I think he needed that and he needed to do well to kind of prove himself again as a manager. I just feel like similar to some of the other teams that I've put down there, I feel like they've lost some players. Obviously, they've got Chris Wood still. He can chip in with goals, but he's getting older now. Morgan Gibbs-White, as much as he's still there, I don't know if he necessarily wants to be there. I don't know if obviously there'll be more on that saga throughout the season, because Verona, that interview was just the peak of it for me, where he's just stood with him throughout the interview, kind of like his bodyguard, and just listening to what he was saying through the interview. And I just don't know if there'll be some more tension and things throughout the season with but obviously them two. And yeah, I just feel like with Nottingham Forest, they will tail off that bit more. I didn't really expect them to do as well as they did last season. And I just think this is kind of where I would have probably predicted them, if you know what I mean, if they didn't have that season, like roundabouts mid-table. I feel like they have still got some really good players, but they have lost some as well.
Yeah, they did. They had an exceptional season last season. You got the FPL cheat code last year, and Chris Wood was absolutely banging them in. No one saw that coming. And so, as you said, Gibbs White, where's his head at the minute? You know, they've got to replace sort of Alanga. I know they've done some visit. A couple of Brazilians have come in that played for Botafogo in the Club World Cup, and they seem to be quite high on those. They've still got Milenkovic, Murillo, Sells, you know, that kind of sort of solid back line, but they've got to manage European football next season as well, haven't they? So
definitely.
It's a challenge. The old Thursday, Sunday job. It's not easy. So next up, we've got the main man, Dan. Dan is here. Man United in 10th.
Oh, he's off my Christmas card list.
Outrageous. Look at that. Unbelievable.
No wonder he's not come on tonight.
I know, exactly.
He's going. They're 20th now. My new predictions have changed.
Outrageous. He's got Newcastle, Everton up in 8th, Nottingham Forest in 9th, United 10th, Fulham 11th, Bournemouth 12th, Tottenham down in 13th, Palace in 14th. He wants to come in on Everton. I mean, new stadium, so exciting. David Moyes, excellent manager. I think probably prior to Grealish, everyone was going, they're not really doing a lot. So I kind of wanted to get behind Everton, but needed that signing. And but now Jack Grealish in today. And I will, because I did say I would bring up someone's quote. There we go. Grealish off to Everton make a difference. Wants to come in on Everton and Jack Grealish.
Yeah, I think it makes a huge difference. I think it probably sparks their season, because I know during the pre-season tour they were doing in America, Moyes was saying a lot of work needs to be done, and I think a lot of the fans, whilst were excited about the new stadium, they kind of needed that signing to kind of kickstart things, and I think Grealish is that. I think Dewsbury Hall coming in as well will help them in the midfield, and he'll be probably a starter every week for them from day one. So yeah, but I think having that sort of big marquee signing, which Everton haven't really had for a while, will help them and hopefully give them a bit of a momentum boost going into the start of the season.
Yeah, that's it. The Dewsbury Hall one's a fair one as well. I think that is another good addition. All kind of happened in the last week or so. Josh was saying, what do you mean they bought in Barry? They have, but he's not exactly like the main. I wouldn't say he's a Grealish produced yet. We'll see what he can do. But yeah, very, very interesting for Everton if they do get that way. At home ground as well. You know, Dickie Hill will be coming into play this season for Everton.
I think that's the big issue with Everton is the new ground. Like, because obviously Goodison is such a small, like, it's very enclosed ground where you allow it became a big cauldron of noise, especially in that last derby with Liverpool. And you've seen with sides, you look at Spurs and your West Hams and that have struggled to adapt to a new home ground, and I think that's going to be huge for them. That, I think with Grealish, if you remember when Moyes was at West Ham, and I'm not a huge David Moyes fan, obviously for obvious reasons, but he signed Lingard from Man United, who everyone had give up on, and he turned Lingard into a fantastic footballer. You know, he was. He revitalised his career, and I think he can do that with Grealish, because it's a massive move for Grealish, isn't it? Considering he was, one of the top players when he was at Villa, he was like, top dog there. He was the big fish. Went to City, and I think Pep's kind of ruined him a little bit. And it'd be interesting to see what they actually do with Grealish. Be interesting to see where he actually plays. If he plays like in the 10 or out wide or whatever, and it'd be a wonderful one. But Everton's big thing is getting that. They've got to start well at that home ground, otherwise. Yeah. I think they'll be in for a little bit of a worry all season, to be honest.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. As you said, Grealish had that first decent season. That first season wasn't too bad at City, and he got himself into the England squad regularly at that point. And that's obviously going to be a big part of his thinking with the World Cup next year. He's going to look for it. It screams a little bit to me, and this signing didn't quite work out, but I think it's the same kind of intention they're going for when they bought Dele Alli. when Ali had
Yeah.
dropped off a little bit and they thought, okay, we can rejuvenate and we can sort of bring in, but perhaps not the right manager at that point for Ali. But Moyes, as you said, Ant, perfect for being able to do that. And, if he can get the best out of Grealish and get him in that right position, it really will sort of spark Everton up a little bit, and kind of that signing that the home ground will certainly be wanting and will need. Next up is this man. And this man, we said he was going risky. We said he was going shocking. Arsenal in 7th, Grimmy. Talk to me.
Right. So I had to think about this, and I was like, one of the big teams has to have a fall off this season. And when I was thinking about who it was going to be, Liverpool's transfer window has been phenomenal. Chelsea, I think they'll be there, and I think that they could, if they get hold of Donnarumma, I think they'll have quite potentially a title-chasing season.
Mm-hmm.
I think City have invested well, and there's probably more to come from them. And United, I think, are going to be back up there, and we'll get onto that in a bit. And I just feel like Arsenal are kind of do or die now, and I feel like with how the fans seem to be a bit 50-50 with him. I mean, Lucas has been on this podcast a number of times and talked about his positives with Arteta and his negatives with Arteta. And I just feel like if Arsenal don't get off to the best start, hopefully with a defeat on Sunday to United, that I think that pressure will grow and continue to debilitate them. And I feel like if there is a team out of that sort of top 4 from last season that'll fall off, I feel like it's going to be Arsenal. And I know 7th is surprising to see, but I actually think like the top sort of 6-7 are going to be very close together. I don't think it's going to be like 15 points difference between 4th and 7th. I think it's going to be very close. So yeah, I'm hoping that both the pressure on Arteta and then maybe Gyökeres not hitting all cylinders might be what causes that crazy prediction. But yeah, that's why Arsenal are 7th in my head.
Go, Grimmy has gone for it. As Graham says, Arsenal fan TV will be for the ages if they finish 7th. Good God.
Yeah.
The meltdown would be insane. As you mentioned, their start is pretty horrendous. I say they've got United at Old Trafford to start, then they've got Leeds up next, Liverpool away, that ain't great, Nottingham Forest at home, Manchester City, and then they've got Newcastle away as well. So that first 6 is a little bit tricky to sort of navigate and work their way through. She said Victor Gyökeres is the striker that they've been screaming for, absolutely going crazy for. So I can only imagine if they then get the striker and it gets worse, that ain't going to go down too well with the fans and Arteta, I would have thought. But there we go, Grimmy. Arsenal in 7th.
Yeah.
We'll see,
I guess.
Well, I like how you've backed it though, Grimmy. I will say that. Like, you have backed your crazy idea really well. You've got me thinking like possibly.
Yeah. I had a. It's just because like when you look over like the past like sort of few seasons, the top 4 from the previous season hasn't remained the top 4 the next season, and everybody going into the summer was going, "Oh, the top 4 will be the same because no one's going to close them down." And I just think United and Spurs are gonna be a lot closer. I think Villa will be around the same as I've said in the table. And I just feel like they're all going to take points off each other, and it's not going to be that much of a slip for some teams. And if some teams don't start off that well, someone's going to fall by the wayside, and Arsenal were the team that I went for because I could see that more than I could with the others. So, yeah, we'll see.
It's a fair point because it's such a strong league now. We saw this last season. The teams that are beating the teams on a regular basis as well now. Yeah. Like, when we were looking at that kind of, that middle row that we're looking at there, playing Brighton, playing Bournemouth, playing Brentford last season was a nightmare at times, even for the teams that were sat at the top. So there is just points that you can drop left, right and centre. And Arsenal last season, their problem was they didn't get over the line in a lot of games. They struggled to kind of get that goal despite, they weren't I don't think they was exciting to watch last season. They were trying to be a bit more pragmatic to try and get them over the line, thinking, okay, we'll step above City. And then the Liverpool train came through and they were nowhere near. They were an absolute mile away. And Well, if it goes that way, Grimmy, it's going to be some interesting watching amongst that.
Oh,
we're going
to have some fantastic podcasts if this ends up happening. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be. It's going to be. Well, we'll see what Lucas thinks of that when he returns. Don't you worry. We'll leave you off for the rest of the one because I think the Arsenal one for you is the key. Hannah here has gone. She's got Tottenham up in 7th. She's got Newcastle down in 8th, Nottingham Forest 9th, Everton 10th, Brighton, Palace, Fulham, and Wolves there. Shash, I'll come to you. What do you think of, obviously, Crystal Palace played in the Community Shield at the weekend, won the Community Shield, and there's still a lot of players that seem like a bit up in the air. What's going on? They seem like if the squad as it is now, that's a strong Palace team, been doing very well. But do you worry that they're still going to get picked? Obviously, Gahey, 12 months on his contract, he's being linked with Liverpool today. Eze's being linked everywhere. What do you think for Palace?
Yeah, definitely. They've produced some really good gems, to be fair. The one that they need to keep 100% is Adam Wharton, because what a player he is. And I feel like he's so underrated and not many people actually talk about everything Adam Wharton does. I think he's one of my favourite players in the Premier League, so I think that is a must. Eze, obviously, you'd want to keep him. Very, very good player. He's a game changer as well. Gets goals, chips in with the assists. I know Tottenham are after him at the minute. I know Arsenal were linked with him. I don't know if they're necessarily still in for him or whether it's all Tottenham now. But yeah,
I think Arsenal, I think it's linked to sales. I think they said Arsenal still interested, but they need to move one or two on. Yeah.
I think. Gueye as well. I think Gueye will actually go to Liverpool. I honestly do think he will go to Liverpool. I think they need to really get the money in for him because he's a very, very good asset. I think they could get a lot of money for him. Top quality defender, and you'd rather get some money for him than see someone like him leave on a free contract, wouldn't you? Especially considering what money you will probably get for Mark Gueye. I don't think it's on the cheap side, really, is it? I think is it quite a good amount.
They seem to say, I think they seem to say it's about 30 million, which because of his 1 year left on the contract. Because I mean, this is the crazy. I mean, they were quoting Newcastle 65 last year, but he's only got a year left. So again, it would be another, Gahey for 35 million. I think
that's a bargain.
Pretty much a steal, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Crystal Palace, though, I feel like with Crystal Palace, they have that good structure in place at the minute. I really, really like the manager as well, and I feel like he could bring in those replacements. I think they'd rather do the business sooner rather than later, so they can bring in some replacements. But yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they do have a good season because some of the players they've got, Mateta, I mean, how nobody from obviously the clubs higher have come in from Mateta because he's sheer quality in that guy. And I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. I don't know whether it's because he plays for the likes of Crystal Palace, but I think he would really shine at a top club. And I was actually rooting for United to get him because I was like, at one point with the Sesko saga and stuff and Gyökeres, I was like, just go for Mateta as well instead.
Powerhouse as well. And I can't remember who stood next to him. And I was like, how big is that bloke? Seriously, an absolute machine. He is a hell of a player. I think he looks like he's going to start. I think Eze and Gahey are probably the troublesome ones, and it's late in the window to have to try and replace and to do different there. But Palace seem to have a way of. You think how long they kind of kept hold of Zaha in the end, didn't they? They seem to sort of hang on a little bit, so they'll dig their heels in a bit for Eze. That's for sure. Heather's back here. We'll move you to the middle here so you can have your say, because in 8th place is your beloved Bournemouth. Zabani's gone today, but don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah, we've lost our 3 of our back 4, but I believe in our recruitment team. They've done brilliantly the last few years, and I think they're pretty far forward on a deal for Diakite. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another guy that they're in for, another centre back. But as long as we've got Andoni, I feel like last year our best part of the season was when we were with only 12 of the first team players and we had so many out injured, and Andoni was playing Dango Ouattara as a striker. He was playing Lewis Cook as a right back. Everybody was out of their position, but we did, that's when we went and beat Manchester United. That's when we went and beat Arsenal. It's, and the owner's motto is always advance, never retreat. Now, part of that advancement might be the new stadium getting built, and we might finish lower, which is still an advancement. But I kind of have to back our own team and say, yeah, we're going to finish one place higher than we did this season.
There you go. Bournemouth moving on. And you still got that attacking talent. They're all, there's still Semenyo, Ouattara, Kluivert. Nilsson, of course, came in, had a really good season last season, clicked really well. You've got, did I see Phil Billings back as well? Is that?
He is.
Phil Bill is back.
He came in the summer series and scored a goal. I'm kind of hoping that with the other outgoings, we might be able to keep him, because obviously he's my favourite player, but whether we do or not, and he's happy to be a super sub, I don't know, because he went to Napoli and I think he only got on like 3 or 4 times, so...
I think sadly for him, he had to deal with the Ballon d'Or nominated Scott McTominay, of course.
Yeah. and also Lukaku. He is getting on a bit, but he's still an absolute beast. So yeah, it was difficult for him to get in that team, though the one time that he did play, he did score a goal. So I just hope for my own sake that we keep him, but whether he goes or not, I will follow him wherever he goes. So
we shall see whether he can work his way back in the team, or whether he goes.
Yeah.
This is the thing. There's still, and this is even the hard thing about predictions. We're still 2.5 weeks away from the end of the transfer window, and all sorts of things could happen. Dominoes will fall everywhere. Who knows?
And as you say, like we've got quite a hard start with the fixtures that we've got. But every team has to play every other team twice. So in a way, it doesn't really matter the order in which you play them, because you're going to have to play them. So
very true. There are 38 games. You got to play everybody. You got to play everybody twice. And say if you're still sort of getting your side together, at least you'll have that established front line. That might be enough early on while you're sort of sorting defence out. But of course, you kick the Premier League off with Liverpool on Friday, so it's a nice test for those defenders.
Lovely. I've not been to Anfield since the 9-0 defeat, so I'm hoping it's a slightly better match.
Fingers crossed.
Slightly less than that would be good. Would be good indeed. We've got Lucas here. Lucas is high on the Palace train, of course. He loves a bit of Palace. He's got Palace up in 7th. He's got Man United in 10th. Villa 9th. Villa down in 9th. Brighton in 10th. Forest 11th. Bournemouth 12th. Fulham 13th. There's, I agree with you. I can't think you on Fulham. Fulham they're kind of almost... I think everybody sort of doesn't know what to do with Fulham. No one sort of knows where to put Fulham in terms of they did very well last season again. They kind of seem to continually punch above their weight. They quietly go about what they do and very effective. But again, I don't think they've done anything in the window. There's been, I think, a small couple of business, but not a lot. What do you make of Fulham?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the reason we've all put them in that similar position is because, like you say, they've not done a lot in the summer, but they are still a good team. Like they are kind of that Palace-esque team that will be forever and around 12th, 13th. They're probably not going to let themselves ever get to the point where they're going to be fighting relegation, or they're never going to really be in contention for like Europe unless it's like a Conference League or something like that. I know they were close the back end of last year, but then just sort of fell away. But yeah, they're a solid team, and our predictions have all put them in a similar place for that reason, is because they're not maybe as poor as the just recently promoted teams and sort of the Wolves and West Hams of the league, but they're not going to be fighting up there with maybe, the likes of Arsenal in 7th, as I've put. But yeah, we'll wait and see. But yeah, I just think they're a solid team. There's nothing egregiously wrong with them, and there's nothing tremendous about them that makes you think they're going to be anywhere else really than sort of solid mid-table.
Yeah, they've been superbly solid Fulham last few years. No doubt about it. Graham's not happy with Lucas. Not happy with Lucas's Crystal Palace prediction. So therefore, he's on your train, Grimmy, with the Arsenal 7th now. So this is how it turns. I think that's why Lucas has put United 8th, because I think Sam's dropped him a sneaky message saying, "Have you seen where he's put Arsenal?" And he's just like, "Get my revenge." And... By the way, to be fair, Lucas did his on some fancy prediction thing. That I think he almost predicted the entire table, because it even gave me a points of the winner out of it, and it was on an official graphic. So it was very, very fancy. As always with Lucas, beautifully presented. So you can't. He sticks to his mantra. Next up, we've got Rebecca. Rebecca is flying Everton up in 8th. It's the one. It's the one for the Toffees. This is the season for the Toffees. It's got Man United in 9th. Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Bournemouth, and she thinks West Ham will be 14th. She got the Hammers up there, and then finally coming in at the rear of the field, it's myself on back. I've got Newcastle in 7th. I think, I think the Isak thing's massive as well, and I think it's massive.
Huge.
In their midfield. Yes. I think their midfield is arguably on par with a lot in the Premier League. I'd really like their midfield, but if Isak goes, that's a bit of a renovation job that needs to happen in a very short window, with a lot of the top transfer forward targets gone. If they're not careful, they'll end up with Calvert-Lewin. That's the only thing left on the market at the minute. But they'll have a lot of money to spend. But a lot of people will know they have a lot of money to spend and not a lot of time to spend it in. If the Isak deal goes that far, I think Eddie Howe's a great manager and that. But and I do think it will be tight. So as we saw last season, look how much it all went to the last day, didn't it? Like 4 or 5 places were like. So we're not saying like they're massively miles away. And the other one I wanted to touch on was Brighton, who we haven't talked about yet as well. Now, again, another one that I know João Pedro's gone. You're looking more at their outgoings perhaps than their ingoings. But Brighton's recruitment is another one that's phenomenal. They're very good. They've got some good players coming through as well. And they always have a few more that we're watching and we're going, who the hell is this guy? Where did this guy come from? And there was 1 or 2 towards the back end of last season that I think will be really interesting and electric to watch. They've still got Matoma there. He's just top quality. We love Matoma. And I think Brighton will. I think they'll be. Yeah, they haven't got Europe either. They'll be a pain, and they'll still be up there. So that's my reasoning.
They've got money as well behind them. A lot of it off Chelsea throughout the last few seasons, but they have got a lot of money behind them too.
They've got a lot of money.
And their manager at the end of the season, though. Or am I?
No, he's still there.
No, he's still there. Yeah,
he's still there.
Yeah, I think there were some rumours, but I think he's stuck about. And as much Grimmy as I would love Carlos Baleba. I can't see it for the fee we're talking about with what's needed to pay for him. So I think he's still a Brighton player this summer. I think maybe next year, but I think this year, sadly. Not for Brighton fans, they'd be very pleased because he's a phenomenal young player.
I don't know, May. I think you'll get him.
You think you'll get him?
I'm not ruling him out.
I think you'll get him because I feel like you will pay what I know, like in the past, but you've not wanted to spend. I know now you've got a little bit of a structure in place and you don't want to spend the money, but I think Baleba wants to come, and I think this year you might have to pay that a little bit more, but there's only you in the race for him. Whereas next year you've got teams who might need that position higher up. So obviously, if Rodri gets injured, you never know if Manchester City will come in for him next season. If obviously with Liverpool, if obviously they're getting older, the midfield, so you don't know obviously if they'll come in for him again next season. Liverpool. So I think Manchester United, they are the only team who want him. There's more chance of him obviously coming this season, even though they may have to pay that little bit more this season.
I'd love it. I would absolutely love it. That would be the one that would get me really off my seat now, because that midfield is the thing that needs. It'd be perfect for the way that system plays. We need a midfielder like Baleba. It'd be perfect to cover the ground that we can't cover currently in there. with his range of passing. He's just got so much, that guy. So I'd absolutely love it. And maybe, you never know, what is it they're calling the bomb squad, Grimmy? We need to get rid of the bomb squad, don't we? That are still hanging around Carrington, but as of yet not left. So that might be where the money comes from.
Yeah,
a lot to be done. But we're moving on to the top six of the Premier League. And of course, the handsome man is back. He's gone for, sadly, Liverpool to win the league again. So let's through Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Aston Villa, Man United, Ant's top six.
Yeah, I do agree with Grim about Chelsea. If they can get a couple of more over the line, I think it'll come eventually. I just think this year that they'll be more than happy to hit the top four. Had a big good window with getting João Pedro in and all that. So I think they're there. I think they're ready. But we'll see what happens. It just kind of was seeing Cole Palmer and João Pedro link up so well in that Club World Cup. And that was like nothing but good, didn't it? So that'll be good for them. Arsenal. I think Gyökeres he'll end up being a good signing for them. I think he's a wise signing. However, I do agree with what Shah said, and Shah's kind of got us thinking if they'd gone for Mateta, he's exactly what they needed, wasn't it? I think Shah hit the nail on the head regarding that. Had he not played for Palace and played for like a little bit more of a fancy club, I think there'd be a lot of teams after him. So Villa, I think, will just get into that top six again. I like Lee Watkins. I think they're a good starting. I think Yuri Tielemans was excellent for them last year as well. I think he'll do it again. I think they'll make their signings a little bit later on in the window. I think they'll probably just wait and see who comes available and stuff. As I mentioned with United, I think you've had an excellent window. I think the forwards, he's needed forwards. Brought in three fantastic players. Obviously in Bremo, we all know how good he is. Same with Matthias Cunha. Massive goal scorer for Wolves last year. And Benjamin Sesko has got a ceiling that is probably unreachable, to be honest, at the moment. But the potential that he's got, and if he can hit the ground running, like what Højlund didn't, if he can hit the ground running, he'll bang loads of goals in. Like, he's a phenomenal footballer. So. I think his goals, just the amount of goals United will get now, will kind of over kind of, obviously he's got really poor defence, but I think because you'll score more goals now than what you were last year. Yeah. City, they've got Rodri back, but they still haven't really brought anyone else in, have they? So it's like, but I think getting Rodri back over a full season gives them that, and they've still got the best striker in the world in Haaland. And Liverpool, I just think, have blown everyone out of the water with the signings. Getting Wirtz in is a tremendous signing. Diakite looks a phenomenal footballer from what we've already seen on Sunday. Still got Salah. Haven't really lost anyone really. Probably Diaz, I think, was probably the one who they would probably like to keep. But I still think by the end of this transfer window, that Liverpool will have Alexander Isak, and it'll just make them unstoppable. We mentioned before possibly getting Gueye in, him alongside Van Dijk. It'll just be like a wall when you won't be able to get through them. And I think they'll be there and there again. And I think for them in the league with what happened with Jota, it'll be one of them. It'll be quite emotional if they do manage to get over the line. So yeah, I can't see anyone beating them, Sam, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it'll be a similar thing as we go through everyone's predictions. You said they've done, on top of winning it last year, it's been a phenomenal window, and then you're about to potentially add Alexander Isak. And as you said, it's phenomenal every way you look around that. So not only that, but Kirkish and Frimpong coming in as well as the wing back. So just that midfield with Wirtz in it too. It means you can move Szoboszlai back a bit. Gravenberch was phenomenal last season. McAllister was excellent last season. Mo Salah's still there. And then they've moved on kind of the unpredictable Darwin Núñez, and as you said, Luis Diaz too. And then, but you bring Isak in. I think yeah, I think it's trouble. I think it's trouble for everybody by the looks of it. But I just say I will take 6th off you right this second. I think where we're going, but I'm sure Grimmy will cover them in a bit more detail soon. But Charles got one more, sneaking up the table slowly. Man United in 5th. She's got Liverpool to win the title, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Man United, and Spurs. Charles.
Yeah, I'll start with Spurs. So I just want to talk about Thomas Frank again because I feel like he's a very, very good tactician. We've seen it at obviously Brentford, and I feel like he's not as stubborn as Postecoglou was with the way he obviously plays. He tweaks things based on his opponents and how they're playing and things, and I really, really rate Thomas Frank for that, and I think he's so deserving of this opportunity at Tottenham. I feel like they've had a very, very good transfer window as well. They've also been linked to, I think, not just Eze, but Sabinho as well. It's come out and said today. They've been linked to him. So I think that'll be a very, very good signing. Kudus, I think, is just absolutely brilliant. I've always really liked him. I think he'll bring that extra dynamic to Spurs. And yeah, I really am. I think they'll have a point to prove as well this season because it was so bad last season with Tottenham. But Thomas Frank is one of the main reasons why I put them up there because I just think is phenomenal, like the way his tactics and everything and the tweaking. So that is one of the reasons I put them 6. Manchester United, one of the main reasons I did put them is I think they'll do well with the fact they've not got any Europe. I think that'll be massive for them. They can just go along their season, and they've obviously brought in Cunha, who you all know I've always really, really liked him. So you've got goals there, and not just goals. I think he's a very, very intelligent player, Mateus Cunha, and wherever you put him, he's got that flair about him. And Bumo, obviously, you brought in two players, Premier League proven, who have got goals last season for both of the clubs that they were at and seasons before. So that's already a positive. Sesko, as I mentioned last week, I don't really know too much about Sesko, so I'm a bit in the unknown about that one. I still think you do need a keeper massively. I know there has been links with Donnarumma, but then Manchester City are in for him now apparently as well, alongside Chelsea. So I don't know what will happen there, but I think you definitely do need a goalkeeper because the more I watch Onana play, I'm like, oh no, you need a new keeper. Then I see you put Bayindir in there and I'm like, oh, bring Onana back. He's not as bad as Bayindir. But yeah, I think that's one thing obviously you do need to work on. The midfield, I think, as you said, is the problem. If you do manage to get Belieber, I think that is a cracking signing and definitely one for the future. I think maybe if you do get him, they'll possibly do a partnership of Mainu and Belieber for the future at Manchester United. I think that could work very, very well. Bruno, I'm not really too sure where Bruno will fit in if you do get him and whether we'll see him next season or whether obviously you're going to get Belieber to kind of replace him and he moves on. I'm not too sure about that. But I just think you've got it the right way, Manchester United at the minute. You can see if there's a structure in place, which is really good. All the whole shenanigans with Garnacho as well, I think, to be fair, Manchester United have handled it well. And if I were Manchester United, despite obviously needing the money, he's apparently turning around and saying, I'll just stay here and get my wage for 6 to 12 months. More fool him because that'll ruin his chances then for the World Cup. He's not going to do that. He'll want to move. But yeah, if that's the case, let him rot there. Just let him rot because it'll ruin him in the long run. This top 4 was the hardest, to be fair, because I think I actually did change it a few times, didn't I, Sam? I sent you my predictions and it kept coming up on WhatsApp, edit. Chelsea, I think they are very, very good. And the recruitment that they have done has been really good. But again, like Manchester United, and despite him finishing the back end of last season pretty good statistically, I still don't trust Robert Sanchez as the number 1 keeper. I think as games have got on and stuff, he has done better, but he's still one of them keepers where I wouldn't fully trust him in a top world-class side when you want to get up and you want to compete for, obviously, the title. But yeah, Chelsea, I think João Pedro, that signing, very, very good. Manchester City, I was a bit confused with this one because obviously I did my predictions on Saturday or Sunday, and they're now being linked with Rodrigo from Real Madrid, Donnarumma as well. I know obviously Rodri is out injured until September, so that is a massive blow for them. I think obviously this season will decide whether we get to see Rodri a lot more or whether the reoccurring injuries will happen. And if it is the case of the reoccurring injuries will happen, they obviously will need that replacement pretty quick. I know they've recruited pretty well to Manchester City, and I think Pep will have that little bit of a point to prove, considering how bad it was last season and he didn't win a trophy. Arsenal, it's one of them where I think I just put Arsenal in there because my reasons were they've done well the last few seasons. They've added Gyökeres to it. But this was my dilemma because I also had them in fourth and I also had them in third. And this was my final prediction. Because with Gyökeres, as much as he is a proven goal scorer at the Championship and in obviously the Portuguese leagues, will he be able to do it in the Premier League? I personally think he will, to be fair. But then my point is as well, I don't know if there's too much pressure on Gyökeres now because there was all the fight. Will he go to Arsenal? Will he go to Manchester United? And because we've all seen how good he is in the other league, I don't know if there'll be that added pressure to it. Obviously, Arteta will want to win something. I feel like he has to do something and prove that he can win something now, because how many seasons has it been for Arteta? It's been a good few, hasn't it? Where they've not necessarily won anything. And I feel like they've recruited very well with Zubimendi. I really like him. And Liverpool, I think obviously them last season, they were very, very strong. I didn't really know what to expect with Arne Slot because it was all new. You used to Klopp. But I feel like they have recruited well. My only problem is with Liverpool, I feel like they were very easy to go through. Palace really did get through them quite easily in the Community Shield the other day, especially Van Dijk. I don't know if it was just an off day for him, but I feel like they could potentially leak goals. But I think they'll score a lot of goals as well, especially if they do get Isak. And I do think they will get Isak and Gueye. So if they get them too, I think they'll just be unstoppable, Liverpool.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, I think. It's tough, isn't it, that top four? Because it is. I've done the same. Mine have just jumped around all over this. Because there's arguments. I think this is where it's quite interesting. There's arguments for all of them to kind of be closer or be the challengers and say that we all, in the large, think Liverpool are going to be there. But, there is cases for definitely each of those second, third and fourth teams. It's a real difficult one. So when it's difficult, we turn to Dan the Man to give us his hopes. And he's the only one out of us, I will spoil this now, that has Manchester City winning the Premier League this season. He thinks that Pep is gonna ride the wave on top. I mean, got to be honest, I think if somebody beats Liverpool this season, they're gonna have to have one hell of a season to do it. It'll have to be the City of old that is the juggernaut. And will it happen? We don't know. But also Brighton in sixth. He's got Aston Villa in fifth as well. And Arsenal and Chelsea, Dan the Man, has gone for. Moving through, it's this man. Grimmy is back. And Champions League football for Manchester United, Grimmy. Fill my heart with love.
I've got to give you some hope, Sam, haven't I? You know what I mean?
You do.
If I don't give you hope, what else can I give you? Despair, probably. I don't know. Yeah. So, again, going into sort of United, I think what we've done so far, adding potentially a lot of goals into the team, because that's where we were weakest, obviously, going forward. That last 3 quarters of the season was just horrendous. Having Kuna and Mbeumo in on its own was probably going to massively boost us. I think even if it was Højlund who was number one striker, I think he would have had a better season than last year with them two being able to provide service that maybe he didn't get last year. Because I do think that's a big part of Højlund's issue is that him and Garnacho just could not play together because Garnacho did not want to pass him the ball and Højlund wanted to kill Garnacho half the time, which you could tell just by watching them play together. But I think bringing Sesko in, who not only looks obviously like a very good prospect, but he's obviously scored goals in the Bundesliga, which isn't the easiest league to score in. Yeah. But also how he is on the ball. He is very good with the ball. He's got plenty of assists as well. So like I feel like that front three, if it gels quickly, could help us get off to the right start. And hopefully we have a good start against Arsenal. But yeah, I just feel like I don't want to curse it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't feel like we're going to have as bad a season as last year. Whether it's actually going to be enough to get us to Champions League will be something to see. But I'm praying and hoping that we have a very good start to the season because I think if we went back 6-7 weeks when we'd only got Cunha, and now obviously we're being linked with Baleba, but when we only had Cunha in, I didn't think we would be in this position or be able to even think we'd have this. So yeah, to be in a position where we only need probably one or two more, whether that's Baleba or another midfielder we can bring in as a stopgap between now and next summer, and maybe get another keeper in. I know Donnarumma's been the name, but I would personally prefer, is it Lamons or whatever?
Yeah.
The youngster from Belgium. I'd rather have him. I think he fits the profile of what we're looking for, of a younger player who's going to develop more over the years. Of course, Donnarumma is one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper in the world at the minute. And having him would be an instant thumbs up from everybody. But I feel like if you're going to have potentially your next, Van der Sar, De Gea, Schmeichel long-term goalkeeper, Lamons is the way to go. Because I feel like Donnarumma could do what he's done at PSG, run down his contract and go to like a Madrid or somewhere else, or another big club somewhere else. So yeah, that's personally how I would go with the keeper situation. To answer Stevie, in terms of the defense, I feel like it kind of works in two different ways. I feel like with the better attack, we'll be able to force the teams back because we didn't have a good attack last year. We were getting pinned back quite a lot, and our front three were terrible at trying to have any pressing. I feel like the front three we have, and with the players that we'll have in the system, and with the better understanding with like Dorgu on the left and maybe Diallo or Dello on the right, depending on who he goes with, I feel like overall that sort of front six will work a lot better at pinning teams back, and that will help our defense keep the pressure off. And yeah, I feel like if we get a better goalkeeper in, like if we replace Onana, I feel like that's where the most benefit's going to be seen. I don't think bringing in another central defender is necessarily going to jump us up 3-4 places. I feel it's more the goalkeeper that we need to worry about. And if we got a new goalkeeper in, and that was what we did for the rest of the summer, I'd be happy with that. Sure, the midfield needs improving, but I feel like beggars can't be choosers, and I'd rather replace the goalkeeper than the midfield at the minute.
Yeah, fair. Certainly the goalkeeper over the defence, because I think the centre backs at the moment, yeah, it's been an issue of fitness, isn't it? Really, in terms of availability, I thought Lenny Yoro was one of our best players last season when he was on the ball. He can bring the ball into midfield, and when he was sort of able to do that, it did make the formation work better. Young kid, plenty of promise and exciting. I like the look of Aiden Heaven a little bit as well. Yeah. I think he gets more minutes this season. Obviously, Lissandro Martinez was out for most of last season with injuries, but it gives you something different. He's another one that can kind of carry the ball a little bit the way that Amorim likes. Whether he's going to be available, I don't know. Harry Maguire is the greatest goal scorer that English football's ever known. So,
the greatest right winger in against that Bilbao you've ever seen.
Exactly. You're getting dreams with him, and De Ligt does, will run through brick walls for you. Not forgetting Mazraoui, who's good to have as a utility player there. So, I think
and you're getting Mason as well.
Oh yeah, in defence though, Heather, definitely Mason is just
no.
Mason, super mounty can do it all, and he's looked good. He's looked good in pre-season. He has. I mean, he looks good anyway, doesn't he, Shah? To be fair, but in terms of his pre-season, he's looked very handy.
Got a nice smile.
The one worry with Cunha is his temper, because unfortunately he keeps getting red cards, and other teams know how easy he is to wind up. So whether something can be sort of done about that they manage to tell him how to keep calm when other teams are in his face.
I think a quick anger management course and a good one. That's all he needs, Grimmy, isn't it?
Yeah, but again, I know people will maybe call out players for temper or getting themselves sent off, but it hasn't hurt other teams and it hasn't hurt Man United in the past having players with that little bit of a streak in them. We've had plenty of players like that in the past. I mean, one of the greatest players we've ever had in Roy Keane knew how to get a red card more than a few times. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Kuna's going to be at that level or he's going to become a Man United legend or anything, but I think sometimes having that bit of streak can be a good thing. It's just whether it gets harnessed in the right way. And obviously, that's Amarim's job to try and get that out of Kuna. So, yeah, we'll see.
Do you not think that's what they need, Grimmy, though? Because like so many times last year where United laid down, got the belly tickled, didn't they? You know what I mean? And now getting someone like that who is a phenomenal footballer, but he's also a bit of he's a shithouse, isn't he? So, it'd be good. I think that would be good for United, to be honest.
Oh, no, 100%. I mean, to be fair, in terms of tickling the belly and stuff, when you tickle my cat's belly, he absolutely rips your hand off. So when you catch showing more fight than 11 men on a pitch, I think that says all that needs to be said about our team last season. So, but yeah, I think that's exactly right. We need more players with a bit of character. And again, we've missed Martinez because he was that guy in the back. He was I always remember that first Liverpool game he played when it was Ten Hag's reign, and he was giving it absolutely everything, getting the crowd to G themselves up, and then grabbing everyone by the scruff of the neck when there was a clearance or a goal line clearance or whatever, or clearing out for a corner, header out. He was all over it. And I feel like the more characters and leaders you get into a team, the better it is. And it's something we've missed. But hopefully having players with a bit more spice to them, shall I say, will help us in the long run.
Yeah, you need that bit of bite in there. Richard says, I think Bruno could with that, but it seems to have settled a little bit with maybe it's just age. I think some of that, but I think also he did sort of take the captaincy on. Once he took that on, I've seen definitely a change in Bruno, and he's very good with the younger players. As much as he gets a reputation for some of his, he gets frustrated and he waves his arms around and all the rest of it. He's actually very good with the young players. A lot he does behind the scenes, I think, and the fact that he stayed in what is the worst Man United side in 20, 30 years, when Bruno Fernandes should be playing Champions League. Let's be honest, he's such a quality player.
100%.
But yeah, I mean, so to answer Dave's question, he's not seen United pre-season, but they did okay, I'm guessing. Yeah, I mean, there was some of the link-up was a little bit better. We've not really seen much of, and Bruno's just come through. We've obviously not seen any of Sesko yet because he's just been signed. But I like the fact he's tall, he's powerful, he can hold the ball up. As Remy said, I think he links well with the strikes. I think he's the right profile of striker that we needed. And I'm really excited to sort of see him go.
Very tall as well.
Yeah.
He's almost as tall as your striker, Shah. Almost. I don't know. They might be around the same. They might be around
6'5". Oh, Manny D's been scoring. Damn it, to sign.
It's a sign. 6'5" strikers. It's the 90s all over again. Let's go.
Premier League Manny D.
But who was it? Wasn't it Leeds or someone who signed basically like as long as there was 6'3", like all of Leeds players have been that they've signed as 6'3" or something.
I'm sure. I think it is Leeds.
They've got like 4 or 5 signs which are like 6'3", and it's
I'm sure it is Leeds.
They're going for tall shithouses.
They are.
Like,
they've got a football manager filter stuck on there, Grimmy. That's what it is. That's what's coming out on their scouting page. But now let's go for Hannah's top 6. She's got Manchester United 6. She's got Aston Villa in 5th. She's got Chelsea in 4th. Manchester City in 3rd. Arsenal in 2nd. And she's got Liverpool as well to win the league. If I'm right with my alphabetical, I am. Heather's next. Liverpool to win the league. Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Aston Villa. So I think pretty much the top 4 as it is again this season, Heather.
Yeah, I can't really see that a lot of changes. Obviously, Man City would have hoped to have sort of reignited themselves, but with losing Kevin De Bruyne, I just don't think that they will, and I think they'll struggle a little. Not struggle exactly, but I don't think they'll be any better than Arsenal or Liverpool. So
that's fair. They've got a bit of a bit of difference to come, and I think the Rodri thing is big for me. The fact that he's already picked up a knock. I mean, I think we said, Charlie, the other day, didn't we? What the hell was he doing at the Club World Cup? What on earth did they play him in the Club World Cup, having been out for a season with an ACL? Give the guy the full rehab. And prep him for now. And now he's got a knock. So, and it's such a tough one to come back with. So, he won the Ballon d'Or. The best player in the world at one point.
Do you know what I have just thought as well? African nations, like Marmoush, they're losing Marmoush, aren't they? In is it for a month? Is it like January?
It's January,
yeah.
I don't want to talk about the African Cup nations. We could lose up to 8 players.
Oh, no!
Sunderland are already working out a way to turn the sprinklers on in January.
No. Literally, our first 6 players we got were African Cup nations. Like, oh man, after they forgot it was on or something. But do you know what it is with City as well? I think is how well rested Foden is, because obviously last year he come off the back of the Euros and he actually said he was tired and all that, and then the kind of like he literally got like put on the bench a lot, didn't he? And then I thought they'd rest him for the Club World Cup as well, but he went there, he did get a couple of goals as well, didn't he? Sure, that might be, but I just thought if he comes back fresh and like Phil Foden, we all know City will be hard to stop, because I think he will be the long-term De Bruyne replacement. Mm-hmm. But then if he's still knackered and they're flogging him every week, then we'll see what happens. I agree, Richard. I agree.
It's difficult. I mean, they have got like one player I do like they've got that's gone under the radar a bit. Like Reinders. I think he scored a couple in pre-season. I think he's a good player. He's a good addition in there. And they've got Cherky who played against us, Grimmy, in that crazy Lyon game, and he was a bit of a live wire. He was a bit of a live wire.
Yeah.
Which doesn't surprise me. City.
Have you still got Oscar Bob?
Oscar Bob, yeah.
Oscar Bob. What a name.
Mm. He looks like a naughty school child as well, doesn't he, Oscar Bob, when he's running?
He does.
He's got that chicken. Richard says Sunderland aiming for 30 points by Christmas so they can afford to lose in January. There you go. It'll all be safe. It'll all be safe by then. We'll go through the others because they've kind of got the same teams in different order. Lucas, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle and Spurs. Rebecca's got Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Aston Villa and Spurs. And I've gone for Liverpool, Arsenal. I've gone for Chelsea in third, Man City fourth, Villa and United. I went for United because I just have to feel good, Grimmy. Have to feel good.
Why are they not top? Well, 21. 21's coming, Sam.
One day it will. Yeah. I'm not convinced about this season. But yeah, I went for Chelsea over Man City just because, well, it looked the same as last year and it looked boring. So I went for something different. But also, I think Chelsea are quietly under the radar. I think the Club World Cup showed what they are capable of. I think that midfield is really starting to gel well. I think João Pedro is a nice little addition for them. I think he'll work well in that system and that team. I think Cole Palmer's fantastic. He's only getting better. I do worry that Levi Colwell's injured because the Chelsea have also got a lot of centre backs that they've just brought in and through. And I do think Donnarumma screams Chelsea signing to me. As soon as Donnarumma was on the market, I'm thinking Chelsea. I can just see it. It's the position they need. I think that would be perfect for them in there. Reece James, if he can stay fit, massive addition to them. And I do think they're quietly, and it's a very young squad that are starting to go in the right direction. And they seem to say, move Nicholas Jackson on. What can Liam Delap do? There's a lot of, I think, a lot of positives to take if you're a Chelsea fan going into this season. And I just think
all of a sudden, like these 8-year contracts are starting to make a little bit of sense on there.
Yeah, it's like they had a plan. It's like they had a plan with it all. And again, I think Arsenal will be close again. I think they've done a lot of what they needed to do. I just think Liverpool have done a bit more. I think that's what it comes down to, and I think that will frustrate the hell out of Arsenal fans because I kind of sense they're in the zone that Liverpool were at in those few seasons. They were chasing Man City, and it's like, what do we have to do now? Last season that was their own fault; they dropped off, but I think they'll be closer this season. But I think they'll struggle in that same way to deal with the Liverpool. If Liverpool get going with that front line, it's going to be a problem. I think Gokka has a work. I think he'll score goals. He's a different player, though. They Havertz coming in and linking the play. They're losing that a little bit, and I think they've been a bit in pre-season, but until the first ball's kicked, we don't really know. So I just think that's the case. And City will probably surprise me and go and win the league, but who knows? It's only a bit of fun. It's a bit of a prediction. So now we've got some fun ones at the end, which will just go around the team. Some extra questions. So we'll go through surprise package, Shah. Who's going to surprise us this season?
Ooh. Do you know what? Considering last season and how awful it was, I'm going to go for Tottenham because I feel like I've backed them enough tonight. And obviously the manager, and I just feel like the signings that they have made have been really, really good. I know they have lost Son, but yeah, Tottenham are mine.
We're going for Tottenham. Heather, surprise package?
It's a really tricky one. I don't know.
No, that's fine. It's fine. So say it could be anybody. Anybody could be a surprise. Grimmy, you've loved a surprise in these predictions. Who out of all your surprises is the biggest surprise?
Man United, probably jumping from 15th to 4th. If we get Belabor 15th to 1st, what a turnaround!
There we go. It's like Christmas come early with Grimmy today. It really is.
If we somehow won the title next year after getting Belabor, Sam, I'm driving down to wherever you are and we're celebrating. It's happening. I'm telling you now.
It's a long drive, Grimmy, but there'll be a long celebration.
If it gives us 21, Sam, I'll be on my way. Don't you worry.
I'll start the car. And Ant, who's your surprise package?
Providing they can keep a hold of Eze and Gee, which they won't. I don't think they'll keep hold of Gee, but I think judging off what I saw on Sunday, I thought Palace looked very good against Liverpool. So, and I think Charlotte mentioned before they have got an excellent manager in Oliver Glasner. So I think they'll surprise a few of us. I think they'll not finish 12th this year, even though I predicted them to.
Do you know what, Anne? I was going to go for Sunderland as a surprise package, but I didn't know if you'd back your boys. So I'll go for Spurs.
I don't want to hex us. That's the problem. I don't want to get too carried away.
But you were one of my surprise packages, but I thought I'd go for Spurs.
Spurs and Palace we've got in that mix. And Man United there as well was mentioned. Stevie Lee says surprise package Palace. He agrees with you, and Richard says surprise Tottenham for the wrong reasons. Think they've lost too much.
Oh.
But it can't get any worse. They'll go down.
Exactly.
Now that would be a surprise.
Surely not.
That would be very interesting indeed. First Champions League side to get relegated. And who's going to be the first? It sounds like a harsh question to say, but who's going to be the first manager to get the sack? Should we start with Heather this time? Because I think I know what your answer is going to be.
Scott Parker.
Scott Parker. I think we talked about it last week.
We didn't believe it when Fulham told us the difference of when he got them promoted to when he got them relegated, and then we saw it with our own eyes, and that championship season, Fulham was actually the scariest ground that I went to when I went to Millwall as well, but the Fulham fans were just like, they were so anti Parker that they made it really just a horrible place to go. So yeah, I don't think that he will last very long.
You go, Scott Parker. I could see Scott Parker, manager of Sheffield United, come January. I could see that, but that playing out.
Especially the way Sheffield United got on side.
Well, they carry on that. That ain't going to last long, is it? It wasn't great at all. And Rebecca's won 2-1. They've won 2 EFL Cup games already. They're on a run. They're on a cup run, you see. Wembley beckons. Wembley beckons.
Oh, I wonder if Kean Hayes played. I'm gonna have a look.
He did at the weekend, sure. I did see he played at the weekend. But and say first manager get the sack for you, Ant. Who's on the chopping block?
Oh, I can see Burnley sticking with Parker for a little bit longer than Bournemouth did. Daniel Farr.
Ooh.
Daniel Farker of Leeds, yeah. Again, possible. They've already been considering it, so it's not going to take too many results
just on that thought process
to nudge them in that direction a little bit further. Grimmy, who's getting the sack?
I've gone Graham Potter. I just feel like West Ham I really don't have any confidence in them at all. The only thing I think saves them is if Jared Bowen has like an absolute stormer of a season and he just somehow pulls them up by the scruff of the neck. I just don't see Potter lasting very long.
Okay, Graham Potter. Graham Potter's been mentioned in the chat as well, I think. Who we have here? Richard said Potter. Stevie says Potter or Amorim.
Hey, Stevie, leave it out.
You can't have two.
Leave
choices.
it out, Stevie.
Outrageous. And David's got two as well. David Moyes walking away or Andrews. There you go. David Moyes' side. Moyes would never walk out on Everton, surely not. Too much love there. And who's under the most pressure? Char, who's under the most pressure?
I feel like, I'll go for a different way. I feel like because they are probably the biggest club in the world and there's always media pressure on them, I feel like Amorim and Manchester United will be under pressure in that aspect because I feel like they're always under pressure to perform. And any little thing, the pressure on them. It's like the first game of the season has to be against Arsenal. So I feel like them in one aspect, but I also feel like Arteta, to be honest, is under a lot of pressure. So I'm gonna go for Manchester United and Arsenal.
Yeah, it's fair. It is the pressure. The pressure's on. There is no
pressure's always on United, isn't it?
Yeah,
because everyone's so into and the
everyone's
stories
expecting that they'll have to start. Well, the start's not good. The fixtures are difficult. So there's a lot of banana skins and issues there. And there's Arsenal sat there first game. There's Liverpool around the corner. It's tricky. And Amorim's used up all his good grace, isn't he? There is no there is no extra, but. Are they going to sit with the long plan or are they not? Who knows? Heather, who's under the most pressure?
I would say Arsenal or City because I can't even remember if City won anything last year. Arsenal definitely didn't. And it's been a few years for Arsenal not winning anything. So I do think that Arteta will be under pressure by the end of the season if he hasn't got anything under his belt.
I agree. Arteta's gonna. I can't imagine a season without Arsenal winning anything. This season is gonna do anything to her. Particularly now he's got the striker and in theory the tools he didn't have before. It's going to be a lot of pressure on Arteta. Grimmy, who's under pressure?
Arteta, I think. I feel. I mean, I've pretty much summarised it before when I described my Arsenal 7th pick, but I just feel like. Yeah, I just feel like if Arsenal don't get off to a good start, we've seen it before with Arsenal where the fans at home especially will be getting on the players' backs. And I feel like as good as they've been the past few seasons, and have improved throughout the time Arteta's been there, I think they've had enough money into the club and enough money on the players in that squad that if they don't get something this season, that I think Arteta is going to continue to be under a lot of pressure. And it'll only go up with each passing game where it gets worse and worse.
It's very fair. And Anne, I'll let you respond to this message instead if you'd rather than answer the question.
Well, actually, it segues into a lovely one because I'm going to say Eddie Howe. The fact that he's got his own way in the summer with Paul Mitchell leaving, the fact that Eddie Howe was allowed to sign players. And hasn't been able to sign said players. Every striker on the planet's turned them down. Their best player wants to leave, has refused to play for the club. That's going to put a massive pressure on the squad in themselves now to perform, and he has got to get that squad united as a unit, as a team, without their talisman. And I think that's going to prove very, very difficult. I think this season, if they don't finish in Champions League, I think he's in for a really big... to be honest, I think they might get rid of him if they don't finish Champions League, because of the amount of money they'll lose in revenue. It'll be huge. I think, to answer the question, I think Regis de Paris is probably the manager in the 20 with the least pressure on him, because we are the underdogs and no one expects us to stay up, apart from a few people in this room here that we've been talking to. So we'll see what happens. But I agree with Arteta. I think Arteta's under massive pressure. They need to win something this year. Amorim, I don't really think under that much pressure, because I think United will have a good season. I think it'll be all right. So for me, it's got to be all on Eddie Howe, because he's got his own way now. He is now Mr. Newcastle with winning a trophy, and the fact that they've not been able to sign anyone that they need to replace Isak is going to be, they can't last the whole season in one striker in Asula who's very, very raw. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at it, isn't it? Because you said that Newcastle going to the end of last season, winning the Carabao Cup, Champions League football, this was supposed to be the one they're like, right, now we want to get in amongst the mix. And their strikers about to be, by the looks of it, off on them. They've been beaten to everyone under the planet when they were, the noises were, we're Newcastle, we're here. Why would they choose these other clubs? Well, they've chosen the other clubs, and there's got to be a lot of questions being asked there going, why aren't people coming to Newcastle when in theory the project, the rest of it should sell it? I think you're right. And I think that could turn the fan base a little bit, because they're going to get frustrated. They're already frustrated over the summer. They're going into a season frustrated. If the results add on top of that, it kind of just builds, doesn't it? It's gonna bubble away. Yeah,
and you look at we mentioned Rodri before. You took Rodri out of City. You know what happened to City last year. If you take Salah out of the Liverpool side, you take Bruno Fernandes out of the United side, you are a worse team for it. And the fact that they're losing, literally for me, and again, coming from a Sunderland fan, I think Isak's the best striker in Europe. I think he's an absolutely phenomenal footballer. And for him to go, and he's obviously wanting to go to Liverpool, he's obviously had his head turned, but it's a huge gap. And they've got 2 weeks to fill it. And then you're trying to fill a side to play, try to bring a striker in who's going to come in cold around your philosophy of play, which is very suited to what Isak does. Hence why he does so well there.
Yeah, it is. It could be a lot of pressure. Could be a lot of pressure on Newcastle and Eddie Howe. Interesting few weeks to come for them, no doubt about it. And last but not least, the top goal scorer. Who's going to be banging the goals in Grimmy? Who's going to grace the top of the goal scoring charts this year?
It's one of two names in my head, but I went for Salah. Just feel like, if Isak goes to Liverpool, could well be him. But the other name I had was Haaland. I think the both of them are just going to be phenomenal again.
I kind of feel like people have forgotten about Haaland and last season, because he was out injured he still scored like 22 goals or something. Yeah. He was out injured for a period, and everyone's like, Haaland, it's not, because he didn't hit those kind of phenomenal heights of the year before. And you're like, everyone's talking about Gyökeres, everyone's talking about Isak, Sesko to United, everyone new strike, and you're like, Erling Haaland's been the guy, been the battering ram, and maybe this new way Man City are looking to play frees Haaland up a little bit more, and suddenly we're like, oh yeah, that guy's a problem. He's a big problem.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think City are building a team which is going to probably play the most un-Pep like we've seen them. And I just feel like, everything's geared towards Haaland anyway, so if they find another way to get him even more tap-ins or headers or whatever it is, whichever ways he decides to score on that given day, I think, he could have another 30-goal season in the Prem quite easily. I went with Salah just on the basis of, I think Liverpool win the title, and he can score goals from wherever he is on the pitch. So, yeah, I just went for Salah for that reason, basically.
He's gone for Salah. Richard's question, he says Salah will be out for AFCON, so that's his reason he doesn't think so. But Sean reckons Haaland. David's gone for a 1 year at Forest. A 1 year at Forest. There you go. There's an outside bet for you. Shah, top goal scorer. Who do you reckon?
Do you know what? I'm going to throw out a wild one here. I'm going to go for João Pedro.
Ooh,
I'm going to go for him.
Chelsea.
Go all different and go for Chelsea.
Got to mix it. Got to mix it up. We go. And what about you? Another name or the usual suspects?
I was originally going Salah, and then Richard has quite rightly said about the African Cup of Nations, which has changed my mind. I don't want to say Haaland because I think Haaland's just going to be too obvious. Cole Palmer. There you go.
Cole Palmer.
Or Diakite for Liverpool, because he is phenomenal.
Okay, and Heather, who's your top goal scorer?
I was going to go for Cole Palmer as well.
Oh, there we are.
Cole Palmer for a double, and I'm going to go for Harry Maguire because he's just
a
majestic footballer at all times. And we've done it. We've previewed the season. We've previewed it all. We've done all of the leagues now. Done all the leagues. The only season preview to go is the women's football, and that's miles away. So they've got a few weeks until they've got theirs to go. But I want to say a special thank you to the whole team that have done all of the season previews over the weeks, and a massive credit to you, Charlotte, hosting most
I've been on them all. I'll have a lot of angry fans after me.
Yeah, that's true.
Big fan base.
That's a video on YouTube all of its own of going back and looking at all of Char's predictions.
Char's had to predict over 200 teams, and not all of them are happy.
You're already banned from Peterborough, aren't you, Char?
Yeah,
I'm not allowed in there anymore.
I've upset a Brackley fan as well. We didn't go into depth about them last night in a non-league show, so if a Brackley fan is watching, I do apologise, but there is several weeks for me to go into depth about them. It was only the first match day.
You can guarantee whatever the result it'll be next week will be like, it's 0-0, but no, we've got to talk about Brackley.
They'll beat us on purpose, won't they now? So I'll have to talk about Brackley Rochdale.
This is it. It's enemies. They've created enemies. But yes, we have. It's football. Football will be back next week, so we'll be back with our regular show now with the new team next Tuesday. But of course, we're to follow these wonderful, wonderful people I've been podcasting with this evening. Where if everybody isn't, and if you aren't, then question yourself and your lives. Why aren't you following Shah? But where can they follow you if they're not?
I am Shah XREFC. That is on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. The Game 2 stuff is Rochdale HGT and all of them socials. And make sure you tune in on Thursday as well for the EFL match weeks.
And the EFL match weeks as well, yeah. And the main man, where can we find you when you're not on the television?
Well, I am going to plug it. I'm at @_Waterston on Twitter and Blue Sky. And if you do want to watch me on television, it is on Premier League Stories, Sunderland on Sky and TNT. It is available to download, so there you are. It's a lovely documentary, I will say.
It's a wonderful
documentary. Not that he's biased or anything.
not just because it's in it. It's actually quite well made, I must admit. I prefer it to something until I die. Happy times. There you go.
Happy times indeed. And of course, Heather, where can everyone follow you?
I'm at Hedgehog73 on pretty much every platform. So
there you are, everywhere. You can find Heather everywhere. And Grimmy. Where can everybody find you and your lovely stuff?
So I'm Grimmy16 on Twitter. Not that I tend to post that much; it's more reposts and stuff like that. Usually when the podcast's going live and things like that. And then Saint Grimmy on YouTube, which I've mentioned a few times already. So yeah, just go check that stuff out.
Okay, wonderful. The world of Grimmy. And if you'd like to, you can catch me at SamAbsoluteFBL on all the socials and all the bits and pieces. And before we go to the Absolute Football Podcast socials, I was just checking you're still awake, Rebecca. Your Scottish roundup. Don't you worry. Of course. I wasn't going to miss the Ryan Astley special of the Scottish Roundup. So I do have Rebecca's Scottish Roundup here written again.
We actually have a Scottish Roundup. Oh.
It's handwritten notes here on my phone at the moment, Grimmy. So I
handwritten notes? It'll be a dissertation on Rebecca.
The
I want to go to bed.
There's definitely a second page coming through. But yes, Rebecca's Scottish Premier League roundup, which will have a graphic when Rebecca is back. We're waiting to debut that. But it's just match week 2 in the Scottish leagues. They're already flying. Weekend had a bit of everything, although this roundup will be more of a Ryan Astley roundup featuring the Scottish Prem, but we will save the best till last, of course. She said Livingston secured their first win of the season after beating Falkirk 3-1 at home. St Mirren secured their first point of the season, drawing 0-0 with Motherwell. Celtic continue their positive start to the season. What a surprise, securing a 2-0 win away at struggling Aberdeen side. Hearts secured a 94th minute winner away to Dundee. Lawrence Shankland. Big Shanks open
There's
the
only
scoring.
one Lawrence Shankland.
Smashing it in, Big
I've been
Shanks.
waiting to do that.
This is it. Didn't get the option last season,
I know.
but Shanks is back at it.
I've
He's
gave
back
myself a
amongst the
head
goals.
rush now.
I was going to pass out with the Shankland excitement.
I know.
Dundee United sadly then equalised just 3 minutes later. Then they added a second in the 41st minute. A Stuart Findlay double in the second half secured all 3 points for Hearts. There you go. Big Shanks contributing to a win for Hearts. Wonderful stuff. Kilmarnock came from being, that might be a 2-0 down to secure a point away to Hibs. And now for the most important match of the weekend, Rangers versus Dundee. Dundee secured their first point of the season, a 1-0 draw away to Rangers. It was a very positive performance from Dundee, with the standout being Finlay Robertson. He had an incredible match. Clark Robertson hit the post. Is everyone called Robertson in the first half? But the deadlock couldn't be broken until the second half, the 51st minute to be precise, when Clark Robertson's header found Ryan Astley, whose looping header found the back of the net, giving Dundee the lead. And Ryan earned his first Scottish Premier League goal. And all of our phones went bonkers with Rebecca's excitement.
Yeah, they did,
in time. Very well-deserved goal for Ryan. I'm thrilled for him. I've honestly lost count of the amount of times I've watched the goal 3 times, 3 teams later, and he still has the same favourite I've had since 2022. To now seeing him score the first Scottish Premier goal against Rangers is honestly the best feeling. Not long after Ryan's goal, things got worse for Rangers, with Giga being sent off. Ryan could have doubled his goal tally, but his header just went wide of the post. Rangers were awarded a penalty in the 92nd minute, which in my opinion wasn't a pen, but Tavernier equalised for Rangers. Rangers thought they had won it in the last minute through Cyril Dessers, but it was ruled offside. And that is Rebecca's Ryan Astley roundup featuring the Scottish.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to congratulate Celtic on winning the SPL this season. It's already fucking done, innit?
You'll notice we didn't do European predictions, who's going to win the European leagues, because about 3 of them were a waste of time. So,
Sam, just really quickly as well, in the chat they've mentioned about covering the Carabao Cup and EFL Cup. I promise if we do get time on the lower league show, I will cover it, but because there's so much to go through, I will try my best.
This is true.
I promise I will try my best.
This is true. It's difficult, isn't it, to cover all of these leagues and the EFL Cup this early on with so many games, isn't it? We'll just maybe there'll be a standout or two. But
my little pea brain can't take all this information.
Can't wait to be talking about the Carabao Cup until 2:00 in the morning on Thursday.
Oh no, I'm shattered.
There we go. Anyone for a bit of Tranmere versus Grimsby at 11:45 on Thursday night?
They'll still be playing. It's been bloody called off.
And of course, now we've covered the Scottish Premier League, it's our socials as well. Do follow the podcast. New socials for this season. We are four live shows a week, which is just crazy and redonkulous, but it's what we do. We're at 8:30 live on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. The absolutely non-league show with Shaw and the team. You can check that out on the channel. They were reviewing the first weekend of the non-league season with Rochdale, 3 points in the bag already.
Apart from
the season
Brackley,
has begun. Apart from sorry, Brackley fans. Apparently, Brackley fans, it wasn't covered enough. But next week will be a Brackley special.
They'll be
on
all about Brackley.
All about Brackley, just to cover it on. On Tuesdays, we are the Absolutely Premier League show. We'll be back on next Tuesday covering the first opening weekend. The Absolutely Women's Football show, they're currently on a break this week because they did about 759 watch-alongs during the Euros. So Freya and Paul will be back soon. But they did do a recording today, so keep your eyes peeled on Friday. They've got an interview coming out with a book writer. So that's going to be an interesting episode. So do check that out on the socials. And on Thursday, Shah's back with the Absolutely Lower League show at the EFL Cup second round, by the sounds of it, on Thursday with the Rowdy Rabble. You can join as a YouTube member, be part of the team. Be part of the team. You get special behind-the-scenes videos, get to know the team, as well as live chat, benefits, badges, emojis, all of that jazz, and be one part of the Absolute Podcast team. And we are on loads of socials. We're on Twitter, Absolute Football Pod, YouTube, Absolute Football Podcast, and Twitch the same, TikTok, Absolute Football Pod, Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _ Blue Sky, Absolute Football, Facebook, the Absolute Football Podcast. We did win the Best New Content Creator at the FCAs, and if you would love to nominate us, which would just be lovely, this is the final week. You have to get your nominations in this week. This is it. And just do it, please. It would be wonderful to go again and to meet up with all this lovely lot at a football convention.
Might not to channel flowers again, I must admit. Leeds this year, and it's only an hour down the road. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a bit further for me this year, but I'm willing to make the trek. And so that is it. That is the end of our show. We hope you have a wonderful week. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the start of the Premier League. Be optimistic, and remember, for the last time this season, we're all still top of the league. Catch you next week. Ciao for now.